I did several showings in Weston this week, and I watched buyers quietly lose interest in homes that honestly should have sold fast. Not because the homes were bad. Some of them were genuinely beautiful homes. But there were 5 things happening during these showings that completely changed how buyers felt the moment they walked in the doors. And the scary part is, most sellers have no idea that this was happening. None of these were massive renovations. None of them required a huge budget. Every single one was fixable. And if you're thinking about selling your home, whether that's next month or 6 months from now, these are the kinds of things you want to catch before buyers do. Because when buyers discover problems on their own, trust disappears fast. And when a seller handles those issues up front, everything about the showing changes. Buyers today are so much different than they were even 10 years ago. They're sharper, more skeptical, more informed. Before they ever step foot inside your home, they have already looked at dozens of listings, zoomed into your photos, compared your home to every other home in the neighborhood, and formed an opinion before the showing even started. So when something feels off the second they walk in, you usually don't get another chance to recover from that first impression. And the interesting part is, buyers rarely tell you what turned them off. You're not going to hear it during the showing. You do not see it immediately. You just feel it later when the feedback never comes or the offer never happens. In this video, I'll show you why buyers decide a home feels wrong within seconds, the pricing mistake that quietly kills interest before negotiations even begin, and the one thing sellers do during showings that completely changes buyer behavior without even realizing it. And number 5 surprised even some of the agents involved. Here's the best way I can explain buyer psychology during a showing. Think about booking a hotel online. You see beautiful photos, bright rooms, perfect lighting, everything looks clean, calm, updated. You've already started imagining yourself there on vacation before you even arrive. Now imagine you open the hotel room door and it feels completely different in person. Maybe it's darker, smaller, worn down. Maybe nothing is technically wrong, but something suddenly feels off. Immediately your brain starts questioning everything else. Was this place misleading? What else is not matching up? Did they hide things on purpose? That's exactly what happens during a home showing. The moment trust cracks, buyers stop emotionally moving towards the home and they start emotionally backing away from it. And once that shift happens, almost everything else in the showing gets filtered through that feeling. Which brings me to the first thing I saw this week. The first one happened before he even got through the front door. The listing photos were beautiful, bright, clean, perfect angles. Everything looked open and airy. Then we walked in and immediately you felt the disconnect. The home wasn't terrible. That's not what this was. It just did not feel like the house buyers thought they were walking into. Here's what sellers do not always realize. Buyers study listing photos now. They zoom in. They screenshot the rooms they love. They send them to me. They compare your home to 5 others before they even leave the driveway. So when reality feels different, even slightly, buyers feel misled. Not because they're unreasonable, because expectations were set here and the experience landed somewhere else entirely. And once buyers feel misled, something subtle happens. They stop looking for reasons to love the home and start looking for reasons not to trust it. And this is such a dangerous shift. The fix is honestly simple. Your photo should feel like an honest preview of the experience buyers are about to have, not a fantasy version of the property from 3 years ago. If your home looks better in person than it does online, that's actually the best case scenario. Get better photos. But if the photos oversell the buyer experience, buyers walk in already emotionally pulling back. And that is incredibly hard, almost impossible to recover from. This next one is uncomfortable, but sellers need to hear it. Buyers know when a home feels overpriced, not because they're real estate experts, but after touring enough homes at a certain price point, people develop instincts really, really fast. They know what $1 million feels like. They know what $800,000 feels like. They know what updated feels like. This week, I walked through a home where the seller had done a genuinely beautiful kitchen renovation. Real money went into it, quality work. You could tell they loved it. But it was done in 2010, and buyers were not seeing a luxury renovation. They were mentally calculating the cost of changing it again. That is the hard part about upgrades in real estate. The market does not pay you for what you loved. It pays you for what buyers want right now. And here's where sellers get trapped. They think if buyers disagree with the price, they'll just negotiate. No, most buyers just don't even engage anymore. This is what overpricing actually does in this market. It does not create low offers. It quietly prevents offers altogether because buyers walk in, feel the mismatch immediately, and emotionally move on before the showing even ends. I'm gonna keep this one short because the buyers I was with kept it short too. We walked in, there was carpet. They looked at each other, we moved on. That's it. That's the whole story. Carpet has become incredibly polarizing. To buyers, it reads old, allergens, odors, future work, even when it's perfectly clean. And mismatched flooring creates a similar feeling. A lot of homes in Weston have tile in the main areas and different flooring added over time in different bedrooms. One room has dark laminate, another has gray vinyl, another still has original carpet. Nothing technically wrong with it, but emotionally, the home starts feeling pieced together instead of intentional. The good news is, this is one of the most fixable issues in the entire list. Consistent flooring changes how buyers experience the whole house, makes everything feel calmer, cleaner, more move-in ready. Buyers can imagine repainting walls, they can imagine changing light fixtures, but it is very hard for them to mentally ignore the floor they are standing on. So I hear this from sellers constantly. We priced the roof into the home. And logically, I understand exactly why they say that. The roof is older, they adjusted the number, problem solved. Except that's not how buyers process it emotionally. Buyers walk in already knowing the roof is aging, and immediately their mind goes somewhere else. If they knew about the roof and didn't replace it, what else do they not deal with? What else is waiting for me after closing? That's why old roofs become bigger than just a repair issue. They become a trust issue. And practically speaking, insurance companies have much stricter policies. An aging roof can create insurance problems. No insurance means financing problems. And suddenly buyers are not just nervous, they're unable to move forward at all. Here's the part most sellers may not even realize. There are roofers right now who will replace the roof before closing, and then they get paid out of the proceeds at closing. You may not need to come out of pocket up front at all. That changes the whole conversation. Because now, instead of handing buyers a future problem, you're handing them a solved problem. And buyers react completely different to sellers who proactively handle things. The house feels cared for, maintained, and safe. Okay, this one surprises sellers every single time. We walked into a showing this week and the seller was home. Which happens, life is complicated, schedules are complicated, but this seller wanted to walk us through the property personally. And they meant well, they really did. I genuinely mean that. Nobody knows a home like the person who has lived there and loved it for 15 years. But here's what sellers don't realize. Buyers need emotional freedom during a showing. They need to whisper to each other, open closets, pause in the kitchen, ask some awkward questions. They need to picture their own routines there, and they cannot fully do that when the seller is standing beside them explaining every upgrade. The moment the seller stays home, something changes psychologically. The buyer stops feeling like a potential owner, and they start to feel like a guest. And guests don't evaluate homes honestly. Guests try to be polite. The exact same thing happened this week with 2 listing agents who followed us into every room talking nonstop. They meant well, but buyers need quiet sometimes. They need moments where they are emotionally interacting with the home itself instead of managing another person's presence. Because the magic moment in a showing is when buyers stop touring the house and start mentally living there. That's the moment you want. And honestly, every single thing we talked about today comes back to the exact idea. The homes that create friction are the homes buyers slowly back away from, often without ever fully explaining why. Once you start seeing showings through that lens, you can't unsee it. If you're thinking about selling your home in Weston, even if it's months from now, these are the kinds of buyer reactions you want to understand before your home ever hits the market. Because the sellers who do best right now are not always the ones with the most updated homes. They're the ones who understand what buyers are feeling in real time and know how to guide those emotions in the right direction. And if you want to understand buyer psychology even deeper, specifically how buyers behave during showings and what those behaviors actually mean, I made a video entirely about that. You can watch it right here. It completely changes the way you see a showing once you know what to look for. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.